So I titled my talk, Representation Matters. And what I mean by that is that it's good and it's important for young people to see faces like them, and particularly in STEM, for women to see women, for young girls to see women in STEM. So I want to share a story with you about how we operationalize STEM education for young girls in Khayelitsha. This is Zikona, the lady with the Thope Foundation hoodie. She joined our program as a volunteer in 2014. And she joined our program halfway through the year, and we asked her, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? How can you contribute to our vision? And she said, I only want to teach maths, nothing else. Don't tell me about life skills, don't tell me about literacy, don't tell me about anything else. I only want to teach maths. What she didn't know, though, was that there was a 10-year-old in the room listening to her. That girl's name is Sinesipho, and she was in grade 5 in our program at the time. And she heard what Zikona was saying in a very grumpy state because she thought she would have to tutor other parts of our program. Sinesipho then waited and waited until she was in grade 7 to say to us, so one of our exit strategies for girls is to try and place them either into high-performing STEM schools or into after-school programs that support STEM. And she said to us halfway through grade 7, I've been accepted at X school. I've been accepted into a bursary program, but I don't want to go into any of these programs. We said, why? Why don't you want to go into these programs? They will open the door for you to get into STEM careers. And she said, I only want to go to the school where Zikona is teaching. Fast forward to 2017. She is now in grade 8 in that school, and she follows a group of kids that we've been able to place at a math and science school. So what do we as an organization mean by STEM? So a lot of programs in the after-school space focus on the S and the M of STEM, so the mathematics and the science of it. We make robotics and computer programming sexy. And we do this through local agents, young women from the township who have an interest in technology, what we call early adapters. They adopt things very early. They're the people that will be on Twitter first. They're the people that will be on Facebook. They will follow trends. When there's a market in Bree Street, they will be the ones that are there. So we use those young women who are either in higher education, working in internships or learnerships, or employed in whatever fields that they want, and we train them up to be mentors, but also implementers of the program. These very funky young people do not look like scientists. They are not typical of what a computer programmer looks like. We imagine computer programmers to be people sitting in a dark office with loads and loads of keyboards, screens, typing into things. But we're saying, actually, that's not what it looks like. And young girls need to see a different developer. They need to see a different programmer. They need to see a different engineer. And we train young women to do that. So these are some of our mentors that we've trained to implement both the after-school program, but also be partners in our in robotics and computer science program. They look very funky, don't they? This is just an example of the girls working with the robotics kit after school. So we use Lego Mindstorms as our kits for robotics, and we train young women in how to facilitate workshops for the girls. And this is not an academic program at all. We are an academic organization, but the program itself is not an academic program. So it's an experiential learning program for the girls where they acquire hard skills in the fields of STEM. And I just want to share another story with you. So these two young girls joined our program in 2015 as grade 5 girls. They weren't interested in what we had to offer. They'd heard that we have holiday programs where they can go to places and see things. They weren't sure what these things were or what these places were, but they had an interest in being part of those programs. So as an introduction, they do coding using a very simple coding program called Scratch, and it's drag and drop. So they were part of Africa Code Week that year because we were one of the partners who implemented that. And they were very uninterested in these things. You know, it wasn't why they wanted to be there. They didn't want to sit in front of a laptop. They wanted to go somewhere. So last year, they were part of the bigger robotics program, and they worked after school, but also had the opportunity to participate in a holiday program, so where they got to go somewhere where they still did robotics. This year, they will be training masters and PhD students on how to build robots for International Women's Month in March. I want to introduce you to a girl called Anam. We call her Princess, and she has a unique story. So she has been one of those girls who are avid readers. She loves books, she loves to read, she loves to discover. And we thought, okay, that's her passion, that's her strength, but she's in our program and we're a STEM program, so she will have to go through the multiple activities that we have. And she was not very interested. She was kind of blasé about life. She was performing well academically. And we thought, okay, well, let's see where this goes and we'll see where she ends up. So she was in grade 7 last year. She got accepted to a number of STEM schools. She was in grade 8 this year. And she was sitting in class at her school. And they were talking about robotics. And the teacher was trying to explain to the rest of the class what robotics were. And they had these kits, and they were being told about parts, about adapters, about connectors, the male and the female. And she sat there like, what is this person saying? So anyway, she went through the session. The following week, they had the same thing. And they eventually got to the point where they were going to build. And she just went ahead and started building the kit. And the teacher said, no, you can't do that. You have to wait. How do you know how to build the kit? And she said, I've done it before. I said, where have you done it before? As part of my after-school program. And as a result, she was so excited. She came back to tell us that, you know what? Those things that we were doing, we did them at school. And my teacher didn't know that I knew because the other kids didn't know. And it was such an important anecdote for us this year as an organization because it tells us that the work we do actually matters, regardless of whether the child has an interest or shows an interest, but that actually sometimes they just need to be exposed to it and have the experience. So what are the... Well, thank you.